I know you like were reiterating you were just feeling suicidal during those times. What do you think was triggering that? Was it just your circumstances?
I felt alone. I felt alone. I felt unloved. Um, and it's like, I understand to this degree why CPS removed me, right? But I feel like CPS could have came into the home and did more to support this broken family than to remove the kids and break the family even more, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I just felt alone and I wanted to go home. I wanted a place to call home. I wanted somewhere that I felt loved. I really felt alone when I was in the system. It was me against the world.
Hey guys, it's Nadia. Welcome back to another episode of Moonchild Talk. Today I'm speaking with, well, now a friend, but your energy is just like so peaceful and so welcoming. It feels like we've already like known each other. Dominique.
Hi, I'm Dominique, CEO and founder of CARES, which is a nonprofit for children in foster care.
If you can, Dominique, just tell us like a little bit about yourself. Like, where are you from? Where did you grow up? Kind of like your upbringing.
So I'm from Denver, Colorado. Really grew up in Denver. My upbringing was like pretty chaotic, I guess you would say. I was removed from my parents' care when I was 16 years old, me and my little brother, because my dad had caught me in the eye with an extension cord. So of course it caused us to go into foster care, and it was like from that moment, yeah, really just was in the system and bounced around and glad to be out.
Yeah. How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 33.
Okay. When's your birthday? What's your sign?
I'm a Leo, August 4th.
Oh, I love Leos. I'm
What
a
are
Taurus.
you?
I'm a Taurus.
Okay, I like the tours.
Do you know your moon and your rising?
I don't. Dang it, I
Ooh.
don't.
Okay, okay. I'm like really into astrology. I feel like it's like it be spot on. I'm not gonna lie. I love Leos though. Like my brother's Leo. I get along with Leos. So
Again.
how old were you like when you first got in foster care?
So I went into the foster care system from the time I was 16 up until a month before my 21st birthday. So I was in the system for about 5 years. And I went through 23 different homes.
What? Foster homes?
Yes. Well, foster homes, group homes, residentials, juvie. Juvie was one of my placements, my favorite.
Yeah, yeah, me too. We'll get into that. Wow, so okay, and I know you mentioned to me before you had a brother, so were you guys kept together when you first got in care or were you like split up?
So when we first went into the foster care system, we were in separate homes, but we had excellent communication and like visits and stuff. So we
Okay.
weren't placed together, but we still had like visits, communication through phone.
How old was he?
He was 2008, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He was 5 when we went into the system.
Okay, so like 11-year difference, right? Yeah,
Yes.
11 years.
Yes, roughly.
Okay, so was there ever like a point in time like where y'all lost contact or
So really, like, I had contact with my brother up until like my 18th birthday. I remember calling his foster mom like it was any other day, you know, our norm, calling her saying, "What's up? How are you?" And then I
Mhm.
had asked her if I can talk to my little brother, and she got like super quiet on me. And I was like, "Hey, Karina, like, what's up? Like, what's happening?" And then she was like, "You don't know?" And I was like, "I don't know what." And at this time, like, I remember my heart was racing because I'm like, I called to talk to my brother, and here it is. Someone is asking me, like, "You don't know what's going on?" Like, she was so appalled. Like, I can hear the tears in her voice. And she was like, "Dominic, you really don't know what's going on or anything about your brother." And at this point, I was like getting stressed out. And I was like, "No, no, like, what the hell? Just tell me." And then she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that you don't know this. And I don't even know if," she said, "I don't know if I should even be telling you this, but your brother was adopted and removed from my home a week ago." And it like just totally like broke me down, and I was just like so angry. And I remember calling my caseworker and like my GAL, which is what like my attorney, like, hey guys, like, why didn't you tell me? And their little sorry ass excuse was because at that time I was active with like self harm and stuff. So
Yeah.
they were worried that I was gonna do something to myself. Is
Yeah.
why they didn't tell me, and I just felt like that was jacked up. Regardless if that was your concerns or not, you guys should have let me say goodbye. You should have let me vouch to why I could have contact with him or something. Just not like one day I feel like everything is cool, and then one day I just call and they're like, yeah, he's gone with a whole new family. And it was like from that point I haven't seen him, and this happened 14 years ago.
And they weren't able to give you like any information at all. Was that like a HIPAA policy or
Yeah,
something? Like,
yeah, it was definitely a hiccup. I had no idea that he was even being. I never knew that the thought of adoption was even a place.
and so you haven't had like any communication with him, like no idea like where he may be?
Nope, none.
Have you tried like any way of like trying to find him or like,
So speaking on that, I did. So I had gotten a job that put me in a position to find him. And,
mm,
like I don't know. I can throw myself out there. I'll probably tell you in private because this
yeah,
might go public. But
yeah.
I was just placed in a position with the job where I had access to a lot of information to a lot of people in Colorado,
Mm,
and I could find you just by a birthday and a first name. So I did what the universe instructed me to do because I sat behind my desk for 3 months, okay, contemplating if I should do it, and I kept telling myself no, no, no. And then one day I was like, you know what? I feel like the universe or like the higher power put me in a position to be able to do something. And I did it. And I found him. And I went to Facebook and I searched the mom's name first. So when I searched the mom's name, I instantly knew it was my little brother. And I remember I was pregnant with my daughter. I got all like teary eyed because this is the first time I seen this little boy since he was 6. But I had to see him through a video. And like I reached out to the mom and nothing. I saw that my little brother had a Facebook and he was 17 at this time, so I didn't reach out to him because I was scared,
mm-hmm.
you know. So I waited and I waited up until his 18th birthday. On his 18th birthday, I was like, cool. Can nobody tell me no? At this point, I'm not violating any laws. I'm not, doing anything. And then I reached out to him, and then he really was just like standoffish and told me that he didn't want to have nothing to do with the family right now. So I kind of just left it at that. And now he just like say his 21st birthday came up, so I just make sure like even though he said that every year, send him a message. I mean, we're still friends on Facebook. And then this year was my actual first FaceTime with him. We had a FaceTime call, and he said that he was ready to reestablish with the family again, but then he just stopped answering my text messages and my calls. I was supposed to fly out there to Maryland and see him, but he never, yeah, I don't know what happened. I think that maybe his adoptive parents, because he did reconnect with the family um, in Maryland. I didn't go because I hate my family. They're fucking trash. They're fake as fuck. But I didn't go because I was on vacation with my family, and I just wanted to more so see my brother by myself because it's more personal for us, I felt like, than my other siblings. They didn't go into foster care. They didn't go through what we went through. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think something happened out there with the family that made him like standoffish, and he just don't want to talk to us, I guess. He didn't tell me this time, but yeah, girls, a lot.
Wow. Well, first off, I want to say ooh, I'm trying not to get emotional. Oh my God, I'm so happy you found your brother though. I'm really happy about that.
Me too.
Yeah,
I can
I'm
say
really
that was
happy
one
about
of the most things that was causing me a lot of anxiety was I didn't know.
that. Yeah,
I didn't know where he was, and I didn't know if he knew how to contact us. But my heart feels more content with the understanding that at least you know how to contact me, so you know I'm here.
exactly. And yeah, he knows he has like that open line of communication. And it's crazy that like you were in that situation with your brother because I was having a conversation with someone and we were basically like talking about would it be better for children like that have been separated like from their siblings or their like real blood family to like stay in contact or just like go no contact. What
Hmm.
is your views on that? And how do you think it affects the kids like both ways, being in contact and not being in contact?
So I feel like when it comes to our siblings are technically our first friends in life, right? They're the first persons that we really learn how to communicate with, that we play with, even as far as say like we went through trauma experiences together. So I feel like in that sense, like it's detrimental to the relationship if they don't have contact, especially if you're placed in the predicament to where siblings are not the abusers, right? Because I
Exactly.
also know that siblings are abusers and they can be abusers. So in that, so it just like in that form, I feel like it's needed. But then if the other sibling was say toxic with the sibling, really abusive, I would say that you know, of course we should cease contact, but figure out what's going on because a child offender has been offended on.
Yeah.
If a child is offending on a sibling or a brother, it's happening to them, and we need to find the source and include like therapy. And all in all, like if the kids are old enough to, I say like it's really not up to us what do they want and what's healthy for them in the moment.
Yeah, my take on it was I'm imagining like a healthy sibling relationship, and when you cut off their only line of communication and sense of home, like that can affect them. And I mean, as much as you run away from something, it'll catch up to you. So, like you said, your brother was getting older and, being more standoffish. I'm sure he's probably going through his own just process of like either anger or grieving, and guys, it hits guys later on. It takes men more time to mature anyways. I have brothers of my own, and me and my brothers were separated. I have three younger brothers. Two of them ended up staying together. One ended up getting adopted. And so all four of us were separated except the younger two. And I'm the oldest, but just watching them get older, I could see like the trauma kind of catching up to them, and like the effect kind of like showing the trauma from foster care, the trauma from being taken away from our mother, because we had four different experiences in foster care, which I'm sure you and your brother had two different experiences too. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just so like, it's so disheartening sometimes, like watching them go through it and it hitting them.
I'm not trying to say maybe his adoptive parents are putting stuff in his ear, but sometimes, growing up, I always wondered what was installed into his brain
That's true.
about us. Instead of like he hasn't questioned us, and I've been praying and waiting for the day for him to come and question us, and I just think about like stuff like that too is about like the foster parents or the adoptive parents in the child's ear. I wonder how like that goes too.
That's true. Yeah, because it's crazy you say that. My brothers, so I was like, I've been in foster care three times, but the last time us being in foster care, I was really a teenager. And I don't know if it was kind of the same for you, but not a lot of foster parents want to take teenagers because they got
Mm-hmm.
attitudes, they're already like established or whatever. So you go to group
Mm-hmm.
homes. Versus my brothers, they were all in like, they were young enough to go to foster homes, and seeing them in like so many different foster homes, and seeing how like one foster home, they were with a white family, and mind you, we're biracial. They were with a white family. My brothers is wearing collared shirts and got low haircuts so you can't see their curls. They're with a black family, and their curls are showing. They
Mm-hmm.
got the big t-shirts on. It's just like so many identities they're going through in
Yep.
like in such little time. It affects the child. It really
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
All that moving, like all that instability,
Mm-hmm.
all different values and beliefs and worldviews being taught to a child in a small span of time, it can kind of like make a child feel like, well, who the fuck am I? You know?
Mm-hmm. Very confused
That's
and really
really how
wondering.
I felt, like even in group homes. I know you said you were in 23 different placements. I wasn't in that many, but honey, I was hell on wheels. So I was, how many group homes did I go to? I went to six group homes, and I went to RYDC 8 different times. So I already know, like, honey, I
Yeah.
was hell,
Me
you
too.
know? But all that moving around, it can really, like, fuck up your nervous system, just, like, make you feel so ungrounded and, like, all that instability. It catches up to you, especially
Hmm.
in adulthood.
Oh my God. You know, it's
Girl.
crazy that you said that is because I did this study and I was talking to other, people who are in the system who have moved, who didn't just get like that one great home, right? The pick me's.
Mhm.
No offense to anyone, but today as an adult, dude, it's crazy because like I'll start to get uncomfortable in my home and I have to change it to make it different to feel okay to me. So like I'll rearrange my room or rearrange my furniture and I do it often and I like come to the realization that I do that because I was so used to, moving and moving around that now that I am stable, I am in a place that it becomes like anxiety me. And as I was talking to some other people, it was interesting to hear how some of them were like, oh my God, like tell me why I do that too. Or I hear people to be like, dude, I still live in a suitcase and I have a home, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So it's just
It's
like effective.
no, that's crazy you said that because it's like more backwards for me. I have to be like stable. It's like I cling to what's familiar because it's like now I have like a weird abandonment wound from just being moved around over and over
Hmm.
again. You said you were in 23 different placements. Like, how did that happen? Why were you moving so much?
Well, so my first foster home, she kept locks on her refrigerators, dude. Like she kept locks on her refrigerators and stuff. And I remember if the bag said 13 serving sizes, she would literally sit there and count out 13 chips, dude. And she made us eat from the same cup, the same fork, the same plate, like we were discussing. Like after we got done eating, we had to rinse off our plates, dry it, and put it in a Ziploc bag to be used the next day. And then like we weren't allowed to take showers. We weren't we had to take baths because of her water bill. And
Mhm.
then like even in the bathtub she had like a little marker for the line of like how far we could fill our water up. It was just like really uncomfortable. And then we shared clothes. So like she'd buy clothes, we'd have nice stuff, but we had to swap it and say if you left or something, it'll stay there for the next girl. It's like it doesn't get to come with you at all. Like talking about cheap bitch. And she
Mhm.
was like really, really like extremely church going, like, oh Mother Brown, you're so sweet, you're getting all these girls, and at home like you're fucking starving us and like abusing us with the Bible. So long story short, just one day, dude, we were tired of our caseworkers not listening, so we ran. And then I went back to her house, and then I ran again. So, um, they arrested me because on the run I had stole some food for King Supers, and I got myself arrested. And they ended up on probation, and then they sent me back to her house, and then I ran away. So my probation officer violated me, and then I went to. It's a lot. It's a lot. I went to
Wow.
Denver Children's Home, and Denver Children's Home is like when I started like the cutting and the suicidal ideation. So it was like I needed a more like an extreme facility. So they moved me from there to more extreme. So I was at Mountain Crest, and I did really good at that program. My roommate hung herself in our bathroom, so that one was hard. And then my foster mom would tell me how she was like gonna go to hell and stuff, and how it was the most unforgivable sin. So I ran away, committed suicide, ended up with other people, just kept running away, and then like suicidal ideation. Stayed with this lady who was a captain in the Air Force. She was really crazy. Till this day, I don't even understand why they even let that woman be a foster mom. Like I don't. It's nothing against war veterans, right? I'm not saying anything, but she was a captain in the Air Force and a war veteran.
Mhm.
So she would like sometimes like inflict her lifestyle on us. So we had to keep our clothes clutter organized. We had to keep tight and clean and be like perfect girls. Like she did keep our hair done. I give her that. She kept our hair done. She kept us in the latest style. She gave us $100 a month for allowance. She paid our phone bill. We was allowed to have cell phones. It was just she would like the way she would spaz out on us sometimes was like, okay, this is uncomfortable, and then like I freaking spilled black nail polish on her carpet. But girls lie. I can go through all these homes, but majority I got kicked out just for being cocky. I had a smart ass mouth. A lot of people didn't like that. I didn't take what they would tell me to do too hard. Yeah, girl, it was just a lot of running and suicidal ideation that kept causing me to get kicked out and kicked out and kicked out.
What I know you like were reiterating like you were just like feeling suicidal during those times. What do you think was triggering that? Was it just your circumstances?
I felt alone. I felt alone. I felt unloved. And it's like, I understand to this degree why CPS removed me, right? But I felt like CPS could have came into the home and did more to support this broken family than to remove the kids and break the family even more, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I just felt alone and I wanted to go home. I wanted a place to call home. I wanted somewhere that I felt loved. I really felt alone when I was in the system. It was me against the world, you know. It was like I had to fight me against the world. And mind you, I'm biracial as well, but as a predominantly black woman in the system, the treatment wasn't good. You know, they didn't know how to keep up with my curls, so they would have me cut my hair or buy me Suave, and I'm like, hey, I couldn't use this, so it just made me feel like that my cultural identity was being taken from me, and yeah, it was a lot, girl. I just wanted to die. Can't believe I ever felt that way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow. Did they do anything like as far as a reunification plan for you and your family? Because I know, I'm not sure how it is in Colorado, but in Georgia, they did that. Like I said, I was in foster care 3 times. They did like a reunification plan with my mom. She did parenting classes. Did your parents have the opportunity to do that at all?
So they gave my dad like opportunity, so he had to stop drinking and like pee clean, and he went to rehab for like 6 months, but the state didn't count that as clean time. They were like, nah. And then he did pop a lot of UAs, so out of a year they only counted like basically 2 months of clean UAs. So they just ripped his rights because of that, and it was more so my dad because my father had custody over me, and I was my stepmom, my real mom. I didn't know that she had rights over me until I went into foster care, and CPS legally had to contact my mom because my dad wasn't ready for me to meet her yet. So that was always like keeping down low.
So it wasn't an option to stay with your mom or any like next of kin at all?
So we did. So we at first, when we first went into foster care, we were kind of like in kinship care. But I guess something happened with somebody, and my caseworker was like really pissed, and she was like, "Your family's full of lies and secrets. All they do is lie. You can't talk to none of them." So we were ripped. We were ripped from kinship care and replaced into foster care. So we went into kinship care from the time like that the police came and took my dad to jail. And my stepmom had to find alternatives. So I went with my uncle's wife, and my little brother went with my sister. And then, like, 2 weeks later, they was like, no, you guys are full of shit. We're removing them.
How many group homes were you in, and how many foster homes were you in?
So I was in about 2 group homes, maybe 12 foster homes, and others were residential
Okay.
in the juvenile detention center.
Okay.
And I
Around
was in a
like,
couple like wards. They had me in a couple psychiatric wards.
did they ever like medicate you or anything?
Oh yeah, they
That's
love
what
to
they do.
medicate you.
That's what
They
they
love to
do.
medicate and sedate you.
Yes, and diagnose you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Dude, I never forget that this one girl, her name was Vishay, she opened my eyes. So they gave me Camperol, which is for like drug cravings, right? But I smoked marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
So one day I was like, remember taking the medicine, and the girl's like, "What are you taking?" And I told her Camperol. Some staff was like, "Mind your business," and I was like, if she's asking me, and I feel comfortable to tell her that's me. And she's like, "Oh, well, what do you take it for?" And I was like, "I guess it's for marijuana cravings." So she looked at them and she's like, "So you're telling me that you take a drug to help you not crave another drug?" She was like, "That don't sound right." And then when she said that, like the staff got so mad because I like it kind of like. And I was like, it
Yeah.
doesn't sound right. I was like, in fact, I don't even want to take this medicine no more. And then they got like super pissed and then took me to court. And the judge had to sign an order telling me I had to take my medication.
And you know, the thing with medication is even like psychiatric meds, as far as like depression medicine or like medicine for ADHD, you gain a tolerance to it so much that when you try to get off of that shit, you literally have withdrawals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not fixing a problem, it's causing another problem
Yep, on top of the problems we already have.
that we already have. Were you in
Mm-hmm.
counseling at all, like when you were in these group homes or foster homes?
Yeah, I feel like they kept my ass in counseling.
Yeah.
I think I went through about 12 therapists.
Wow.
Huh. They love
Wow.
to cancel you and sedate you. They love to sedate you. That's one thing I noticed too. If I don't know if like you ever seen that, but at the groups home, it seemed like all of us at a certain time was taking something to make us sleepy.
Everybody was zombied out. Oh my goodness. I remember
Hmm.
and I literally, so I ended up in a residential treatment facility too when I was, how old was I? 13 through 14. And they diagnosed me with like a list of just bullshit. Had me on like 5 different psychiatric medicines. When I
Hmm.
tell you, they made me worse. They made me even more suicidal, even more like ADHD, and my appetite was gone. It just made everything 10 times worse. I look at the pictures of myself in like when I was in that residential facility,
Hmm.
and like I don't even recognize myself, and I just feel so bad. I feel so bad. And like the girls that was there, like the thing with defects is they don't realize that you're taking a child out of their home and you're putting them somewhere else to further traumatize them. If they only
Hmm.
knew how traumatizing these group homes were, the group homes and the foster homes, I feel like
Hmm.
anybody can become a foster parent. Literally.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone
I
can
know you
become a
said
foster parent.
that your foster parent wasn't feeding you. Girl, I went to one foster home and they did not put me in a foster home after I left that one. She wasn't feeding us either. She was locking up the food and the snacks. We was eating ramen noodles for breakfast. Girl,
Oh my
literally.
God.
And you know, when you're a kid, no one wants to listen to you. You're not being taken serious. I'm telling them we're not
Yeah.
eating. We're not being fed.
Yeah. Let me guess, you're ungrateful, right? You're being so ungrateful right now.
Right.
They love telling me that. You're so ungrateful every time you brought up something. You're just so ungrateful. Be lucky that someone's taking care of you.
In the home you were in, where you said one of the girls hung herself, did you see that? Did you have to witness that?
So that was that mountain crest dude, and that one I didn't necessarily witness it because I had left. I had left the program. I had left the program. I want to say maybe like 5 days before because I had turned 18, and once I turned 18, it was like because it was a youth program. Like I
Hmm.
stayed there for like a week, and then they had to like transfer me into a home. But I remember she was added to my case plan because she was not in foster care, so when her family would, she just had her own issues that her family was helping her support, and
Hmm.
then so her family was like really really close to me. They really was sweet to me, and then when I had called Annabelle to check in on her, that's when they had told me. And then I was talking to some of my friends there, and they had told me that the staff there had given her her cell phone code because we're in a psychiatric ward, mind you. We're not allowed to have hoodies with strings. We don't even have shoes. We have house shoes. Okay, we
Yeah.
literally walked around in our pajamas all day because that's all we did. We did groups and snacked all day. And they had given her her cell phone charger and left her alone with her cell phone charger for 20 minutes, and she had like tied like wrapped it around her neck like super tight. and like put it on like the towel rack, you know.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I just was like, oh my god. So like that image is always like, you know, it bothers me. It
Yeah.
has me sit back and be like, wow, like where was this staff? How did
Yeah.
she even get the cell phone cord and walk away? And we're at an inpatient psychiatric unit, long term. This isn't short term. This is not where people go for 72 hours. Holds. These were kids with real life problems.
Yeah.
And crazy enough, a lot of these kids were in foster care.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I was in a group home, and I think I was, how old was I, 16, and this girl like stabbed herself in front of me. Just and I when I was in a the residential facility I was at, literally these girls were planning on running away, and they were trying to kill the staff. Like, they jumped on the staff's back and literally tried to fucking choke them with a pillowcase.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the traumatizing shit that we be seeing and no one wants to pay attention to.
Right. Yeah, that's not talked about, and they're just so quick to like throw a
Just.
throw a child,
Mm-hmm.
a innocent child that didn't ask to be in the situation that they're in like
Mm-hmm.
a more traumatizing space. I feel like they don't like they're not thorough with like looking through the placements that they're putting the children in. One, because I actually think it's like a shortage or a lack of group homes or something like that. And it's a really big shortage of foster homes because no one's wanting to take teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in
Yeah.
hotels. I don't know if they did that
Yep.
with you guys, but yeah, they'll put the kids in hotels.
Yep, they're doing this out here. I had a client who was in the hotel and she was telling me about how like her boyfriend was there and how they were smoking in her room, and I was like what the hell are you talking about? I was like, your caseworker is operating all of this and you're in a hotel and this is all going on in your hotel because they have her in a hotel like in one of the worst neighborhoods. But a child in a hotel, do you know like human trafficking,
Yeah.
target, drugs, anything? There's no supervision, there's no conduct, it's just them in a room by themselves. Are we for real right now?
Is there any girls or people that you keep in contact with to this day, like from the placements you were in?
Yes. So I still talk to Shatera. That's like my ride or die. She's always like had my support ever
Oh,
since she was in a home. I remember the kids were like really mean to her because she was a lot heavier than some of us. So the kids was just really mean to her, and I just remember I latched on to her because I felt that need to protect when really her ass was protecting me. But no, I still keep in contact with her. But other than that, I really haven't talked to much people that I was in placement with. You know, it just seemed to be like a lot of them are living a lifestyle that I worked really hard to get away from.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so I remained friends up until I had kids, which I'm still friends. I'm still in their corner, but it's just like we're I'm trying to catch a plane and they don't want to get on the flight and I don't want to miss it, if that makes sense.
No, I get that. I don't know too many girls, and I mean, like, when you're growing up with people, you know, you kind of like consider them sisters or family. I don't know too many girls out of like the 6 placements I was in that are like doing well. I hate to say that, but like doing
Yeah.
conventionally well. A lot of them are homeless. A lot of them are dead. A lot of them have committed suicide, um,
Mhm.
just on drugs, and it makes you think like, could this have been prevented?
Mhm.
Because these are former foster youth.
Mhm.
Could this have been prevented? You know, like, what resources, it's resources out there. I don't know if you signed yourself back into care, but I signed myself back into care, and I stayed in a ILP program up until I was 21, and they paid for my apartment and stuff like that, but I wouldn't have even known about that program had I not get kicked out of my group home, put in a hotel, and they told me about the program. So had I stayed there, I mean, I don't know where I would have been
Mm-hmm.
right now, but
Mm-hmm.
like, what conversations are not being had with these kids,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
it's a lot
know?
of conversations that they're not having with these kids. Like, I didn't even know that they had the FUP vouchers, which is like when the state will pay for your rent for up to 3 years. So it's
Yeah.
almost like a Section 8 voucher, but you get it from the state. And it's like, dude, I didn't even know about that voucher until I was like past the cutoff age limit. Like, my case was a little different. So when I left foster care, I actually had my own place and I was working at Sam's Club, and the freaking caseworker had a key to my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
they was trying so hard to place me into adult care, and I was trying so hard to tell them that I am not psychologically crazy, and that they were the ones contributing to my craziness, and if they just left me alone, I wouldn't be that crazy no more. And I know it's like saying it out loud because I'm laughing at myself. That it sounds so like I can
it's
see
true.
someone being like, "No, that's not how it works." But like me, I'm like, "See, like I'm I'm okay now." No
Right?
way. I did not. They was really trying to place me in adult care. They wanted to say that I needed adult care, that I had like personality disorder, bipolar depression. What was another one? They loved labeling me.
Do you think do you believe in mental illness?
I believe in mental illness, and I believe that the mind is a very powerful thing, and we can get a grasp on it with enough like manifestation.
Yeah.
So I believe in it. I believe it's real, and I believe that it can be worked through if the person is willing to work through it.
I get that too. Yeah, I would agree with that too, for sure. Yeah, and I think it's really dangerous people just like diagnosing people just like freely like that and so easily, because there are some people out here that actually are mentally ill, and
Mm-hmm.
you can identify it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then just to put people on medicine just to, like what, write a check, essentially, you're essentially like writing a check to the pharmaceutical company. I just feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
all a money game, honestly, and it's so fucking sick
Yeah.
because these are
Yeah.
children. These
Yeah.
are
And
children.
maybe you should look at it into your state, but California is what actually made me look at into it in Colorado, dude. But there's the children with the mental health issues and stuff. Do you know that they are applying for disability on these children's behalf, and they are keeping the check?
Really? Who,
Yeah,
the
yeah, dude.
foster parents or?
The state. So,
Oh, wow.
in San Diego, I just did a thing in San Diego in May because they were petitioning. But in
Hmm.
San Diego, dude, the city of San Diego has accumulated over $3 million with the children's survivors benefits and their disability benefits, and it's unaccounted for. And when I tell you like that blood that angers me, it's like, so you're telling me that we are taking these kids' monies to? They're saying that we're paying the state when our taxpayers' money is paying the state for that. So if these
Yeah.
kids are getting these pensions and disabilities and stuff, why are we not opening bank accounts?
Right.
You can open up a bank account and have this kid set
Yeah.
financially stable, but yet we just don't know where the money is. And I looked into Colorado. I'm not sure how much money, we haven't accumulated all of that yet. So out here in Colorado, I figured out that they have been doing something similar out here in Colorado, but I cannot figure out the amount yet. And I just know this to be true, dude, because once I exited the foster care system, I had a disability check in the mail. And I was like, what? And I looked at my
What?
mom because it went to my mom's house, and my mom was like, hey, you got a check here from disability. And I was like, huh? And then I called disability, trying to find out that they applied for it on my behalf. But back then, I never really thought nothing of it until just recently when we did that movement in San Diego. And it's just like, yeah, Yeah, and then I had called one of my clients because I know she's disabled and she just got out of the foster care, but she's able to live on her own. And I asked her how long has she been getting disability, and she told me that she's been getting a check since she was in foster care, and she knows that it was going to them because same thing happened to her when she exited foster care. She randomly got a check in the mail, and there's no reason why we are randomly getting checks in the mail when I've never applied for disability a day in my life.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Like
Wow.
they're really out here like pimping kids, and I know people get so mad when I use those terms, but it's just like
But that's what it is. Like, let's be real, let's
we're
not sugarcoat
we're
it.
getting pimped.
Yeah.
It's human trafficking, and I feel like people don't understand that the definition of human trafficking is being forcefully removed without your consent and forced into slavery, whether if it's sex trafficking, slave work that your foster parents made you do, you know, the cooking and the cleaning,
Yeah.
watching their kids, making sure that their house was met. You know, that's human trafficking at its finest, and I cannot believe that no one is like really understanding that this is what's really going on with our kids in the form of money.
Yeah. That, and also like there's no, I get that you don't have to hold an adult by their hand, they're an adult. I get that. But when you take so many years of someone's life as a kid and they've literally become institutionalized and accustomed to being told what to do and how to do it and moving this way and doing this and doing that, and you kind of just like drop them off, of course they'll be looking around like, what the fuck,
Hmm.
what am I supposed to do?
Yeah,
Nobody's
yeah.
checking in on these kids. There's no like CSI workers for like former foster youth at all checking in with
Hmm.
these kids at all. It's like they're picking us up because we're a liability and we're children according to the law because they have to, and putting us down when it conveniences them, but it's
Hmm.
inconveniencing us. And these are lives. We're not a case number. These are lives. And no one wants
Hmm.
to talk about it or care about it until it directly affects them or it's one of their children. These are people's children.
Yeah.
I literally, Dominique, I tell you, and this is literally like, it was this girl. I was in the residential facility, and it was called Kids Peace, and it was a lockdown facility, 19 girls. So we would swap
Sheesh.
out roommates. Girl, literally 19 girls, two bathrms,
You just brought
literally.
back memories. I'm like,
Oh my
I
God,
remember how
people are
fighting all
literally.
the time.
It was literally like Bad Girls Club.
Hmm.
It was like Bad Girls Club. People badging keys to get in and out of the door. I was there from 13 to 14, and I had this roommate, and her name was Keelan. Me and Keelan, like, we would stay up all night and talk. Like, we would have the best conversations, and I can't remember, like, a lot of our conversations, I think, because my mind is, like, blocked that part of my life off just because it was so traumatic. But fast forward to 2023, I see Keelan, damn, 10 years later, just at the nail shop. She walks in and I didn't even like recognize her. She, God forgive me because I love her, but I could tell she was like using. She had self harm marks on her arm. She was just like very like zombied out. And I was so happy to see her, and I was trying to have conversation with her and stuff, and she was just like so out of it. Something had told me to check in with her, and like life is so fast sometimes it happens, and we're so in our own lives that we forget to check in on the people that we love because it just happens so fast. And come to find out, Keelan like took her own life last year, and I didn't find out till this year.
Poor baby.
And it just like it really it really struck like it really struck something in me because the girls that I've met and I've came across, they've been like good people. They've been such good people. And like we would just stay up all night talking, you know, and you get to know somebody. And these are beautiful souls, like in fucked up circumstances. And I just think about, like, what if someone helped Keelan like I was helped? You know, what if somebody gave her information like I was given information? It was by the grace of God that, you know, I ended up in the situation I ended up in. But I just think about all the girls that I met and how their lives maybe could have like looked different if somebody would have just like seen them and, you know, like stayed in touch and remind them that I'm here, you know. So
Yeah. It's crazy that you said that because I have similar thoughts too about the girls that I, you know, grew up with or was like in them homes, and just how how majority of them weren't helped, you know. They weren't paid enough attention to. You know, it definitely like you getting kind of just like reminded me of my friend Annabelle, like could have said. And like, you know, like that wound, just to like give a little background of probably why I keep bringing her up too, is like, you know, her daughter killed herself last week. So here it is, someone that I was in a placement with, and she thought she was gonna lose her kids, and I know she was under a lot of pressure, and she took her life. And then 11 years later, her daughter takes her life the same way. You know, it kind of just like had me thinking, like, if the system would have never failed her mother, would her daughter still be here right now?
yeah.
If my friend never took her life, would her daughter have taken her life last week? And she did it the same exact way as her mom. And
Wow.
mind you, like, yesterday was the anniversary of her death. That's probably why, like, you know, the manifestation, she's on my mind a lot. It's just like, the system failed her mom, and in the process of the general crisis, they failed her daughter.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, what do? We made it. We're okay enough, right? I wouldn't necessarily say like
Yeah.
just super fantastic, but to hear like, you know, about your friend and the using, and you know, it's just like, could you have been saved?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and it just be just hard. And no one cares about us. Like Michael Jackson said it a long time ago. They really don't care about us. They
Right.
don't, and it frustrates me with America how we're so worried about starving kids in Africa or saving kids in Uganda, which don't come for me. I think we need to save them, but at the same time, it hurts my heart to know that people are willing to give money to these different situations for a child that you never see. And girl, little do I know, there could be a foster kid somewhere in my apartment complex that needs a pair of shoes. And
Yeah.
I can't even give to a foster kid that's in my community that I can see with my own eyes. I can see me helping you. I can meet you and help you, but I don't give you the same love as I would for the kids in Uganda.
Yeah. It's literally not talked about. I had wanted to have a conversation with someone about this. I just didn't know somebody that was able to have like a mature and compassionate like dialogue with me. And I had ended up finding you on TikTok and seeing the work that you're doing. I'm like, oh my God, like literally this is one of the few people that I've seen that has been through it and is like trying to help other people. It's a big percentage of foster care youth that has committed suicide. They take up a big percentage.
Just to piggyback off what we were saying earlier, to when you were like, you know, like no one wants a teenager. That's just facts. And like majority of the kids who are in foster care now, they're a little bit older. You know, everybody wants the babies.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a smart mouth ass teenager. I do. I can't wait to foster. I want the diamond in the rough.
Also,
Give me.
you're going to foster.
I want to. I'm gonna wait for my kids to get a little older, and of course, I need a home, right? I live
Yeah.
in an apartment right now,
Yeah.
but I eventually I want to. I would love to take in at least one kid and give a kid something that they need. But if I can't, then I do it through cares.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Oh, okay, so tell me about like what do you do through CARES?
And so through cares, we actually teach the youngins how to use their voice. We let them know that they have a voice and a choice in their case. Like in the state of Colorado, you are allowed to attend your own court hearings. You are allowed to request meetings with the judges if you like. We have rights. Whether the caseworker isn't giving the kids the rights, and kids don't know that, hey, you're allowed to go to court. Hey, they encourage you to talk to the judge. They don't. These kids are not encouraged to do that, so they're not encouraged, or they don't know, like you were saying.
Yeah.
If they don't know, they don't get to take available of the opportunities. So we just make sure that we let them know about the opportunities. We help them fill out food stamps and stuff if they need it. Say if they're looking for apartments, we teach them the do's and don'ts of renting. Go with them to look at apartment, give them a thumbs up or give them the thumbs down, and tell them why we think that. But we always also encourage, while we're telling you what we think, at the end of the day, it's your decision, it's your choice, it's your life. I'm just saying that if I were you, I'd go over here.
Yeah.
And just teaching them that. And then we do a lot of policy change. So I was so hurt about the sibling separation of my brother that I emailed Congress almost every day for a year, telling them I wanted a sibling bill of rights. A couple of them shunned me off. A couple of them acted like they met with me, but never heard nothing. And then one day, I went with other people, this team called Project Foster Power. Like, they wanted to all of a sudden create a foster bill of rights, and I was all for it, and I told them how, like, I was harassing Congress about it. And then I remember when we went up there, they was so mad, dude. They was so mad at me, and they thought I stole it from them. But I tried to explain to these people I did not steal them, because, long story short, I felt like that they wanted the little preppy white girl to be their poster child. But me and Brianna, the black girls, we ended up being what people knew as Project Foster Power. Like, they latched onto me and Brie, and I felt like that Betsy and Jenny Ann didn't like that.
Hmm.
But that's a different story. But Congress shut down Project Foster Power and said we're going with Dominique. And I told
Wow.
them that I still wanted my team to be inclusive because they helped me get here and they helped me be a voice, and how like they were just as important than I was. But I respected my Congress because when they passed the bill, so siblings in the state of Colorado, siblings are no longer to be separated in foster care. You are entitled to know what's going on in your sibling's case, meaning if there's adoption plans, if there's this planning, you gotta do it. You are entitled to spend birthdays, Christmas, and celebrations together, and like you're just entitled to all of this. And of course, adult siblings are too. And of course, if the sibling offended, then that goes deeper. Of course, you don't have no access. But long story short, we passed the bill. We wrote and passed the bill with Congress, and it went through the House and it went through the Senate unanimously. And I felt like super proud of that, because it's very rare that you hear of a foster child going to Congress and telling them, this
Yes.
is my story. I was separated from my brother, and here's these other kids. Because I also learned too that my voice was so small by itself.
Yeah.
Once I found other people who had that sibling connection, who had that trauma, and they were like, let's come together, and we all, it was like 10 of us, girl, like 10, 12 of us. We all went up there to
Wow.
talk to Congress. At this point, Congress had no choice but to listen. So once that happened, dude, I realized how powerful I was. And I realized, because I used to tell people when I was like 18, 19, that I was going to create a bill and siblings are never going to be separated in foster care again. Now, thinking about it then, people were looking at me like, create a bill, Dominique, like really? And then today,
Yeah.
like, I love it when people come to me and be like, Dominique, I remember when you told me how you was going to pass that bill, and I thought you were so crazy telling me that, but it made me so proud to know that you did, and just, doing stuff like that. And the next thing that we're working on to take to Congress is our youth of color. I was tired of our youth of color not having adequate access to appropriate hair care or appropriate hairstyles, like the box braids, the braids that we want, that they
Yeah.
need to figure out somewhere in the budget to make sure that these kids of color have access to protective styles. They have access to the appropriate hair care products, and it's going to be included in their clothing allowance.
Yes, I
You know?
love that
So
so
that's what we're doing next.
much.
And just to give a shout out to your state, I stole the idea from your state because your state just actually passed that law.
They passed the law for what?
Georgia?
Which one? The siblings or the hair?
No, in Georgia, the hair. I got it from Georgia Youth Empowerment.
That is awesome.
So
Yes,
I
I
stole the
love
idea from
that.
Georgia because I was like, give it here, guys, give it here. I gotta do it in Colorado now.
Wow, I really wish it would be like across the board because some states are just like unfair. Honestly, if us as a world was just on one page, it wouldn't be all this animosity, arguing, these wars. It really just wouldn't. I
Yeah.
mean, you wouldn't have to go to one state to get one thing done. Like, it's not needed. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand like you have different religions and they want to follow that, but I just feel like if we were just on one page, you
That's
know.
how I feel too. We disagree to disagree. Like, girl,
Right.
they was trying to target the kids out here in Colorado. About because they like in the new foster bill of rights they have you have to use the foster child's appropriate pronouns. You should
Hmm.
have seen how many foster parents were against that were like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And it broke my heart because like we were saying earlier, not saying like, kids don't know who they are, because they do, but these kids don't even have an identity themselves. They don't know
Right.
their some of them don't even know their cultural backgrounds, where they come from, who they belong to. And now we're gonna sit here and tell these kids that they're not a boy or they're not a girl when they don't even know who Dante, like, say their name is Dante. They don't even know who the fuck Dante is.
Right.
They're still trying to figure this out, but here it is. We're trying to put stipulations, and I just feel like the whole world would be better if we just stop worrying about what people are doing, as long as it's not effective towards your money or your safety.
Right. If it doesn't make your
You know?
house bigger, your pockets bigger, like it doesn't directly affect you.
So
Mind your
why are
own.
you concerned? Why are you concerned because Jake wants to sleep with Paul? That is Jake and Paul's business. It does not affect your income. It does not affect you or your children's or your household safety. So why are we so concerned about it? You were saying nobody wants to be foster parents in the state of Colorado. We are in the search of 500 foster parents, dude. And the state was talking about that maybe they should raise the price. And I told the state that I felt like that if you feel like you have to raise the price to get people to be foster parents, we have a problem, and that's concerning to me because right now we are almost at $2,000 a month per child.
Wow.
Foster parents out here get paid, I think it's like $69 a day, and if you do the math, it adds out to be like 1,900 and some change. But mind you, if we times that by 2 or 3 kids, that's a mad income. That's a really nice income. We're talking about 6 racks. And on top of, in the state of Colorado, they give you food stamps if you're a foster parent.
Yeah.
You get food stamps. And you get to claim these children on your taxes.
Right. Yeah, and I just
But girl, where we don't see the money. I
it
don't see the money.
exactly, exactly. And that brings in the people that aren't really in it for the kids. That's the dangerous part about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it gets real dangerous. There's a lot of people out here that ain't in it for the kids. But in it for a check, and I always felt like one of the stipulations of being a foster parent, maybe you need to be making enough to support you and the child. That's how I would see it. How much do you make? Do you have a steady income? Like you would as if it wasn't a job. Or oftentimes I think about families who lose their children behind poverty. I've seen parents lose their kids because of poverty. They're couch surfing. Their child doesn't have the bed to sleep in. And then we take that same child and we pay this foster family damn near $2,000 a month when we could have taken that $2,000 and given it to the family to
Yeah.
help the family. And I wish that people would pay attention to, although we need children, we need families for children, we should also be thinking about how do we keep kids at home.
Right.
Not you. I don't believe that there's 500,000 people that abuse their kids.
Right. Right.
There's more deeper. There's more subject. I've seen parents struggle with addiction, but they're functional addicts. We get into that conversation too about how parents are functional addicts. They don't abuse their kids. They just have a problem with a substance. Other than that, they work and they pay their bills on time. But then now their kids are being taken because they're addicts, and the problem is that they're addicts. They're not being abusive. They just like to get turned up, and it's like, why don't we take that money and get them rehab? You
Hello.
know.
Hello.
I get the parents who
So
are just like beating their kids, raping. I know that that happens, and yes, they need to be removed.
yeah.
But every child that has been removed, I think that there's some way and somehow with some of those children that we could have found a way to left them at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's never going to be an end of CPS because if people stop abusing their kids, the business dies.
Right.
And that's why I feel like they be making up stuff on some parents too, because I'm like, yeah, not enough people are abusing their kids, so you guys gotta find other reasons to take the child.
It exactly. Exactly. I heard someone say on a podcast the cure for cancer would mean that a lot of people would not be getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
And the same
Yep.
applies with that. It's always a reason. It's always a reason not to, like reunify kids with their families. But you don't realize
Mm-hmm.
like you're just further traumatizing them with placements that you don't even investigate enough and look through enough. Because
Mm-hmm.
looking at myself now as an adult versus before I was in foster care and after foster care, I don't know about you, but like one of the biggest issues I deal with as an adult, I took a very big hit with my social skills. Like I took a huge hit being like locked up essentially from 11 to 17. That's 6 years of like the most pivotal years of my life, and I'm still a sponge. I'm absorbing everything around me, and I'm being essentially like closed in with a
Mm-hmm.
certain amount of people. My social skills like took a big hit. I don't go out often. I'm very introverted. I don't fuck with many people, and I mean it does have its benefits, but sometimes I think back to who I used to be before I was in foster care. I was so extroverted. I was such like a happy, like bubbly kid, and yeah, I'm still trying to like reparent myself to this day and like regulate my nervous system and remind myself like people are safe. It's actually good people out here with good intentions that will actually love you. Like you are safe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like
Yeah.
you have dealt
Yeah.
with the same thing? Like, what's the difference
Yeah.
between you now and before you were in foster care?
Um. So before I was into foster care, I was wilding out. But I was, yeah, maybe I feel like I was more sheltered and more scared to speak my mind more so, but I was like very bubbly, very people-y. And then once I got into foster care, I had no problem speaking my mind because I knew no one can whoop my ass anymore. So if I if I felt the type of way, I'd definitely let you know. And then it just became like I kept getting fucked over by like the trashy ass girls that I was with, which I don't want to call them trashy because as an adult today, I understand the positions that all of us was in,
Yeah.
and all of us had some problems, and it probably wasn't their fault that they were like that as a child. So I definitely find myself like, dude, my friend is my niece. Like, when I want to go out, I call my niece. She's 23, so I'll
Yeah.
call my niece and be like, hey, you want to go get drinks? Or my sister, or my cousins. It's just like I don't have friends. I feel like maybe sometimes people might think I'm weird.
Me
Um,
too. Oh my God. I feel so socially awkward at times. Like,
Me
I'm like,
too.
"Ugh, I don't know what
Yeah.
to say. Like, I
I don't
gotta
know
think
what to
about what I'm
say.
saying before I
Yeah.
say it."
I don't know what to say, and then I feel like sometimes I have to like calm my brain down, or
Yes.
like I want to go out, and then I'll go out, dude, and then I find a reason to go home. It's like I'll
Yeah, my
get
social
cute, I'll
battery
get
will
done
die.
up, and then I'll go out and be like, I want to go home.
Yeah.
And put on and eat some snacks in my bed. Like people hate it. They be always trying to eat. Like it's Friday right now. I'm not going nowhere. No,
Yeah.
I want to stay home.
No, I literally had to get out of like the institutionalized mindset because like I said earlier, like you're being told all these years of what to do and when to move
Mhm.
and how high to jump, and as an adult I'm like looking around like what the fuck? Okay, so this is my life and
Mhm.
I'm actually in control of it. Like
Mhm.
it's so much unlearning, so much reparenting. And I don't want to fully shit on foster care because it is in place for children that actually like it is children out there that are actually being abused, and I would say the better alternative may be foster care,
Mhm.
you know. But also like speaking from my own experience, I have an understanding how it was traumatizing for me, and in that trauma, I didn't allow it to be in vain and I allowed it to be my testimony. You know,
Mhm.
it made me who I am today, and I'm really grateful for the wisdom that I have at my age. I'm 24, you know, so
Mhm.
I'm grateful for the experience. I'm grateful that I was able to learn from my mom's mistakes, other people's mistakes, the people around me, you know, so I know what not to do. You know,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
so, and I'm grateful for the people I met. Oh my God. The girls I met, just so many different walks of life. I have
Mhm.
stories for days. Like, I'm grateful
Me
for
too.
that. So it's not all terrible, but it's a lot that needs to be fixed. It's a lot that didn't have to happen.
Can I ask you something?
Hmm.
And like I know you're the host, you do the
No,
questions,
you're
but I'm gonna
fine.
ask you a question, right? So like given your experience into foster care and stuff, have you ever found yourself in a predicament to where you felt the need to call CPS, but you had to question or maybe doubt yourself and wonder like would I be helping the kid or would I be traumatizing the kid more? Like have you ever had a situation to where you had to battle yourself with that?
No, never. Never. No, I
Okay.
wouldn't look for that as like a first resort just because I feel like if you haven't really necessarily been through something, you can't speak on it. So me firsthand being through it and seeing, yes, it can be traumatizing, that would not be my first resort. I would think of, okay, do they have a next of kin? You
Mm-hmm.
know, like it's different alternatives. And I don't think every reasoning that DFACS wants to throw out there to justify taking a child out of their home is a subjective or a good enough objective reasoning to take a child out of their home, take a child from all they know.
Yeah, I feel like that does more trauma. Well, just for me personally, I feel like that was the removal experience was more traumatic for me than what
Yes.
brought me to their situation in the first place. Like, just imagine the screaming and the crying, and you're holding on to your mom, and it's like you don't know what's happening. You're like, please don't let them take me. I don't know these people, and then like you're forced in a car to go with this stranger, and this stranger that you've never even met before is now taking you to another stranger's house, and it's just like you're sitting there, dude. I remember my first time in the car just with this strange ass lady I've never met before, and my heart was just. I felt like I was gonna pass out, and we're pulling up. She's telling me about the foster mom and how many girls is there, and then they open the door, and your heart is just like
Yes.
like I get anxiety like thinking about it, and sometimes like when I'm doing my speeches, dude, I always want to bring people to that. I want them to close their eyes and picture. I want you to picture someone getting abused, but I want you to now picture this scene, and it was rough. It was
Yeah.
rough, because
Yeah.
I probably did need to be taken from home, But like I said, they could have done some more measures to make sure that
Yes.
we were a stable family. I did need to be removed from home. I did in a way. I like to think that I got a whooping for the longest, and it took me the longest for my therapist to be like, Dominique, baby, there's a fine line between abuse and a whooping. I want you
For
to pay
sure.
attention to those.
Me too. Most
So I'm like,
definitely.
oh, I just got a whooping. People are like, okay, hey, Dominique, getting tied down to a bed and beat with an extension cord is not a whooping.
Yeah.
That is a beating.
Yeah.
It's not like to where sometimes, I hardly pop my daughter, but when I do, it's just like that's discipline versus like, like, yeah, I can't. No.
No, I get that. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I really
Mm-hmm.
am. I I dealt with the same thing for my mom, and I think for the longest, I didn't want to admit it because maybe that would be me admitting that my mom is a bad person or my mom is a villain or whatever. But honestly, just going through all the things that I went through, I just realized that my mom was hurt, and
Mm-hmm.
hurt people,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you have to peel back the layers and think about, okay, well, what did she go through for her to take this out on me? What did that person
Mm-hmm.
go through that caused them to take it out on her? Because it becomes a generational curse. It becomes like a ripple effect,
Mm-hmm.
so it's
Yeah.
all about, it's not the question of, oh, what's wrong with her, or what's wrong with person, what happened to you, you
Mm-hmm.
know
Yeah. Yeah. Oftentimes we judge people off of their behaviors and not their situation. It's
yeah.
quick to judge someone off of their behaviors, but it's another when you actually learn their situation and what caused the behavior, then it's like more of a understanding why what's happening is happening.
Is there anything that you would like to share, like with a foster youth that may be watching, like former or current, like any advice, any information?
So some advice I would like to give any youth in care that may be watching would be, I know you're probably so sick of hearing this shit, right? But it gets better. And I know you're probably like, oh, I'm so tired. Because I was tired too. I got so tired of people telling me it
Girl,
gets better. I was like, oh, because it's when? Because I've been living through hell. But honestly, it does get better. And it gets better when you realize that you have a choice and you have a voice in your own life. And not to be afraid to use it. Like the worst is over. The worst is getting into foster care, and of course, like sometimes I know, like situations where it's just using your voice, and it gets better.
yeah,
You just gotta find that one person that cares, and I know we care.
yes. Thank you so much. I love that. Yeah, me growing up, yo, when I used to hear somebody say it gets better, it's like, okay, 10 years from now, damn, I'm only like
Yeah,
13.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah. You
God,
like when?
I will never forget. Like, I think, like, just like looking back and just being in a lockdown facility, just wishing my teenage years was over with is so sad, like, when you think about it, because those should be like the most fun, learning times of your life.
Hmm.
And
Did you
go
go to
ahead.
prom?
No, I did
Me
not. I
neither.
didn't. I didn't go to freaking prom, and I wanted to go to prom. I moved around so much.
Hmm.
Oh my God. And literally when my friends tell me about their teenage years or whatever, their
Hmm.
experiences, I kind of get mad. I kind of get jealous
Me
because I'm
too.
like, damn.
Me too. They're like, this was my prom dress, and you're like, I didn't get to go to prom.
Literally 2016, I was locked up in a unit with 19 other girls
Mhm. Yeah,
arguing, fighting, trying to
arguing,
kill a
fighting.
stand.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, we did a lot of that.
Literally.
We need to plan a foster care prom. I really want to plan like a
Yes.
foster's prom and do it like a national event.
That
You
would
know,
be
to where it's like
awesome.
for those of us who never got to experience prom, like I really want to do that because I want to
Wow.
experience prom. And
Me too.
a lot of us girls who were in care, like we didn't get that feeling just to be dressed up pretty for no reason. Like I wanted that.
Yes. I wanted that too. Even like homecoming, I just didn't even care to do that because I
Yeah.
didn't I got moved around so much. I just got tired of meeting new friends. I would literally eat my lunch in the bathroom. Like, I don't want to talk to
Yeah.
anyone. That's what
Me
made me
too. Didn't really
introverted.
care.
Yeah.
Didn't really care. And then graduation sucked because I did graduate with my high school diploma. But imagine like everybody's families in the crowd is screaming like "Yay!" And then it's your turn, and it's just like
Right.
quiet. Have you seen the program on Netflix?
What program?
It's called The Program. That's the title of it. It's
Oh,
on Netflix.
that's the title. What's it about?
Dude, it's about these kids who were in a treatment facility,
Hmm.
and they actually went back. The facility got closed or something, but they went back, dude, and they were able to find like some old file records and like some old videos of like the staff abusing the girls and how like the staff would like abuse like the young boys, pick them up and like throw them on their backs and stuff like that. Oh my god, it's like so triggering. But
Wow.
it made me like, girl, I was uneasy for like 2 weeks after watching that. I had to process with my therapist because I was like, I don't know why I've been walking around here feeling like a little kid about to get an ass whooping when they go home, but I've been feeling like scared and I don't know why. And then I like dug some deep in, and it was because of that show. And the show just like really shows like what can happen in these treatment facilities to kids. And it wasn't a foster facility, but it was a treatment facility. And like they weren't allowed to talk to their parents, or each time they would write letters, they had to like say it was good, or anytime like they would mention anything bad about the program, like they would get in trouble, or they would like the staff would disconnect the line or something. I don't know, but it's crazy. It's definitely triggering, but
Yeah.
it's definitely a must see for people who ever want an idea of what we go through.
What is like, wow,
Like the
that
first episode
sounds,
would have you being like, "Oh my god." You know, given if you went through that many placements, I'm pretty sure that you can have some like relations of like, being on the system level.
yeah.
They were talking about being on that level, how level 1 you couldn't do this, but level 4 you could do this, and just like placing us on a level system and making sure that we knew we were different from each other, which caused a lot of conflict in the home,
Yes.
because you had the girls trying to be like, you need to do this, and like, what, shut the fuck up, Samantha, I don't gotta do shit. Tell me do. And then it's just like they made sure that they had like the pick me kids, like, oh yeah, and you guys can have this, but you guys can't have it because you're on the worst level. And it's just like it really played into like that part to where like it reminded me of my time at Denver Children's Home, and I really tried to forget my time there. You know.
Yeah, anytime I try to like recollect what happened to me back in Kids Peace, it's like my mind blocks a lot of it
Yeah.
off.
Maybe this show might open up a lot because I can tell you this show opened up some stuff to my mind. Like, it's crazy that trauma that I forgot about. Trauma that I was like, I forgot about that place. And it's like, how did I forget? But yeah, I don't know if you ever want to do like some,
Yeah.
but it's definitely intense and something I would recommend you and the viewers to watch.
So do you do any shadow work or anything like that? I know you said you're a mother also. How does everything that's happening that you went through, has this made you view motherhood different, or how has motherhood been to you?
So motherhood, it's definitely a ball. I have two bonus babies and one biological.
Oh,
So my bonus babies definitely taught me about being a mom before I became a mom. But with my daughter Kamila, it just made me scared. Like when I had her, my first thought was, I can't be like who my biological mom was. I gotta protect her. Like, it made me cry when I would hold this sweet little baby and be like, how could you? Because my mom gave me up when I was a baby. Like, I went into foster care when I was a baby. That's a different story too. But just like understanding like what my mom did to me and how she threw me in the garbage can, like literally threw me in the garbage can. My older brother had to come get me, and it was like, how could you do that, And then I was so scared about CPS. My daughter was 2 months and CPS had knocked on my door, and I swear till this day, I know that the only reason why that you guys showed up to my home was because I applied for food stamps when I got pregnant for the first time in my life. Because I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do then? And
Yeah.
then once I applied for it and I had my baby, I felt like CPS got noticed that I had a child, dude, and they came knocking on my door. And I asked them what the allegations were. They told me that I put cocaine in my bedroom pillow and I beat my baby. And I laughed in the lady's face, and she was like, I don't think that's funny. And I was like, actually, I think it's hilarious as hell, because if you knew anything about anybody's drugs, why would I shove them in my bedroom pillow? I was like, that don't even sound right to me. But yeah, so they like, girl, I had to take a UA. But long story short, I only seen them once, and 60 days later, they gave me a sorry ass letter in the mail stating that my case was closed as unfounded. But just that trauma alone, I'm on my P's and Q's. Like, when somebody knocks at my door and it's like an unannounced, my first thought is CPS. You would think, like, why would that be my first thought? Was I never had my kids taken, nor will I ever. I love my baby. I would never place her in harm's way. But that is something that I struggle with as a foster kid, is that I'm scared that CPS is going to come find a reason to take my kids away, because it's so common for us who were in foster care to have our children end up in foster care. So it just
Yeah.
puts me on that. And then also, like, with the affection, I'm not an affectionate person. I don't.
Wow.
You know how, like, you want to be, I don't want to be
Yeah.
touched, I don't want to be hugged, like, unless it's on my turn. So sometimes my daughter would come and, like, hug me, and I'll find myself being like,
Oh,
and then I
wow.
have to, like, and then I'll recognition, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I don't want you growing up without hugs and kisses, so let me give you all the hugs and kisses. But I have to be mindful of that, because I realize that that's what I was almost projecting a lot of my trauma onto my kids, so I have to be really mindful. And for to help me with that is, like, I'm in parenting classes, right? I take parenting classes. I have a family therapist for me and my child, because she helps me manage my child's emotions and manage different ways of discipline, because I swear sometimes I want to drop kick my daughter.
Ah.
I love her to death, but I didn't want to hit her or have to hit her to get her to listen to me. So I seeked out help, and I was like, hey, I don't want to pop my kid. I don't want to hurt her, and I don't want to cause her childhood trauma. Can you give me some assistance? So I do that. So I have a therapist, a family therapist that I see once a week, and then I have my own personal therapist. But it helps, because I was just so scared of causing my kids trauma. I didn't want to mess up, because of, like, I'm so used to being hit when I got in trouble, and I know how the cycle can affect. And I had those urges sometimes to where I would want to hit her, but instead, like I said, I got a therapist, and I need help. I want to learn how to manage my child's behaviors and different forms of discipline to where I don't have to harm her. And it's been going great.
Wow, it's really interesting you saying how you hate affection. And I know you had said like you were abused by your father. I was like physically abused by my mother, but it's so crazy because like I actually like love affection. I don't know if it's because I was like uh deprived of affection or neglected. I didn't have a father growing up also, so it was just my mother, but like I love affection. Not with women though. With women, I'm literally like arm's length. No, like don't get close to me. But men, oh my God, when I'm in love, I want to live in his skin. It's crazy. It's so crazy how being in foster care, being emotionally and physically abused, that shit shows up the most in your relationship.
It really does.
The
Big,
effects of that.
big problems too.
How has that showed up in your relationship? Like, do you deal with certain issues when it comes to like receiving love or giving love?
So in the beginning, I was just always scared because I've been with my partner now for 8 years. We've been together for 8 years. And
Good.
when we first got together, it was just like I was very like crybaby-ish. He yelled at me. I just was break down and start crying, and he'd be like, Why are you crying? Because I'm upset that you lost my headphones.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. But it really, I lucked out. I lucked out with an actually understanding, compassionate guy who's willing to let me throw a temper tantrum, or like I have like my spaz out moments, to where I get
Yeah.
like all depressed and I want to stay in bed. It's just like super supportive. The only way I could say like would help would be like for us, like sometimes I don't like all that like touching and stuff, you know. So that almost caused a problem in our beginning, especially like when he would show affection, and I would of course receive it, but I wouldn't show the affection back. If that
Okay.
makes sense. So because I wasn't showing the affection back, it was causing like some problems to where now that I understand it, I'm conscious about it and I do it because I'm like, oh, I have to protect my relationship or let him know that I do love him, I do care for him. But like deep down inside, I don't want to do it, and that's something that I'm like so searching on. But I still do it because I do want him to know that I do care about him. It's just so hard for me to just randomly just like come and initiate things with you, or initiate the cuddles or anything. I don't do it because I'm scared of rejection too. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to come give you a hug and like you push me off of you, and then I'm gonna cry like a little baby now because you
Uh,
pushed me off you. So then I just choose not to do it, and maybe that happened when I was a kid. Try to go get love and affection. It was just like move. So then it was just like, yeah, we not doing that no more.
so it was more so like an avoidant attachment style. That's what it sounds like.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm just gonna detach because I don't even want to feel
Mhm.
feeling abandoned or feeling
Mhm.
rejected.
So it protects me to do that, and
Wow.
in the end, it was really hurting.
Girl, I'm more so like very anxious. Like I'm very like cling on, chasing men. Oh my goodness, I'm still trying to get a hold on to it to this day because literally I had a psychological done about a month ago, and I was talking to the psychologist just about my upbringing, and he was just really shocked to hear how many placements I was in, like back to back to back within a year span. And I was telling him about my love life and how, essentially like my love life has kind of been the same, like a year span, or it's very turbulent, very on and off, back and forth. And he was
Mhm.
like, of course your relationships has been like that. You've never had any stability in your life, you know?
Mhm.
And so I'm really just like doing healing on that because I can't always point the other finger at the other person. Sometimes I'm the problem. Chaos
Mhm.
is not love. That's what I'm learning. Love is not chaos. Chaos is not love.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm worthy of love,
Yes, you are.
you
You
know.
definitely are. You're so beautiful,
Thank
smart. I
you.
love your energy. Like,
Thank
girl,
you.
any man be lucky to have you.
Thank
I'm lucky to
you.
have you as my internet friend. Like, can we become friends in real life? I want to come see you now.
Yes, girl. No, we most definitely have to do an
Mhm.
episode in person. It was just on my heart to go ahead and like do an episode and put it out there, but I most definitely want to do a episode in person because I feel like it's just completely different seeing a person's body language, just being in a person's space. It's way more
Mhm.
powerful. But I'm
Yeah.
really thankful for you just being open and courageous. If anything, the work that you're doing, it's awesome and it's so seen. And if I could help you with anything, even like you were talking about the prom, I think that's such a dope idea.
Yeah,
Literally.
let's do it. Let's do the dope. Yeah, I know how many people would love to come to them. Because we're 501c3 set it accredited, we definitely can find scholarships and sponsorships to make
Yeah.
sure that we can help people get here and make it happen.
There's some people that don't want to be helped. That's understandable. But if you could touch one person, that's still a person. That's still a life that you've changed. So I want to thank you for the work that you're doing. That's awesome. You know, like you're a walking testimony. You're a walking testimony, and I'm super proud of you. This is our second conversation. We briefly had a conversation like a couple months ago, but I just want to let you know I'm super proud of you, and you were so seen. And girl, I'm a crybaby.
Thank
I'm a
you,
crybaby.
love.
I'm super proud of you and the work that you're doing, and just helping other kids out and helping other kids feel seen. So
Thank you.
you're needed, and don't ever feel like you're not needed, because you are.
Thank you. You are too. We need you to get messages out because I know you can.
Yeah.
And your story is someday too. And I hope that there's some little kid that sees us and they're watching us who relates to your story or my story, and then they can be like, dude, they went through hell and back, and look at Nadia. She's a freaking amazing podcaster. You're a hella workouter. I see that. You know,
Ah.
you like to keep in shape. You know, and then like some little kid runs across you and they'll be able to see that and be like, oh, I could be like her, you know, or oh, I could be like Dominique, or even being like, hey, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if either one of us was to get an inbox from a little foster kid saying, hey, I just seen your show. I'm in foster care. Can you talk to me? You'd be like, I
Right.
will. Because I get those messages all the time, and I tell you, I love getting those messages from the youth because it's just like, what do you need from me, baby? What do you need? Are you hungry? Where are you at? Let's send you some food to the closest McDonald's.
Right.
You know, well, not McDonald's. McDonald's is, they get better stuff than that. When they tell me McDonald's, I'd be like, ugh, you know, no Chick-fil-A.
Right. Look, right? Where can
I
people
really hope
find you at?
TikTok is the best youth advocate. Facebook is Dominique Paris. And of course, if you ever want to know any more stuff or see any like news articles and stuff that we've done, you can type in Dominique Mallard into Google and it just brings up everything.
But hopefully next time, well, not hopefully, we will for sure do an episode in person. I want to
Yes.
thank you again so much for coming on, Dominique, and thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in to another episode of Moonchild Talk. I will see you guys in the next episode. Love you. Bless.